Yeah, man, you got that script for me? Great. Who is it this week? Marcus who? He's like a bird. Oh, from Gears of War. More like Gears of War. Oh, hey, guys. Welcome back to Hero Unlocked, where we respect every franchise that has ever franchised. So, Marcus Fenix, the poster child for middle children, the second part of the Golden Xbox trio. These games may be more popular for the multiplayer now than anything else, but that doesn't mean there isn't a big, meaty story for us to chainsaw gun through. So, let's do this. Get ready for Hero Unlocked. I'm gonna keep things funky fresh with you guys. I don't know a ton about these games. In fact, going into this, I knew more about Cliff Bleszinski than I did about Gears, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested in finding out more. After all, this is a huge part of Xbox culture and deserves to be talked about. So, speaking of which, I have an awesome video on Master Chief if you're part of that fan base and wanted to hear my take on the whole franchise. Go check that out. So, back to Gears. To begin our tale of development, you must understand what Unreal is. You see, Epic Games, yes, that Epic Games was once known for their arena shooters. After a few Unreal titles, the game Unreal Warfare was to be next. However, delays due to numerous issues caused Unreal Tournament 2003 to be released instead. After the development of Unreal Engine 3, it became time for Unreal Warfare to become Gears of War. Now, I've always found it imperative to teach you guys about the faceless beings behind a lot of your favorite video games, but I haven't always done the best job actually showing you a lot of who these people are. Luckily for me, the staff behind these games are, video game celebrities, kind of. Like, okay, if Cory Barlog was The Rock, Cliff Bleszinski would be like the Nicolas Cage of video games. He was around for a while and everyone knew who he was, but now when he shows up, you're kind of like, oh no. Just kidding, Cliffy B. I love ya. Anyway, Cliffy B has noted that the game was inspired by a number of different sources. These included Kill Switch and Bionic Commando. Well, with a team of about 30 people, they got to work and made a game that defined a genre. In November of 2006, Jeff Bell of Microsoft said this title would be the first of 3 Gears of War games, which is always a bad sign of things to come. But we'll see. Hell, Mark Rain of Epic, as well as quite a few other people, believe that Gears of War could become the next Halo in terms of popularity. Okay, that laugh is legally defensible. Just in case any of you are litigious. But the title did do exceptionally well, both in sales as well as review-wise. However, if you go back and actually read the reviews, you start to get the sense that in the 360 era, graphics could really pull a game's score up. I mean, GameSpot basically said that there was almost no story and that there were issues with difficulty, and the game still got a 9.6 from them. This doesn't mean that the game didn't warrant the score, it just kind of tells you where the game sits in the franchise. Hell, GameSpot even gave it their Game of the Year. Fast forward to the release of Gears of War 2 in 2008. Now, this is a part of the video where I go over the improvements over the previous one, right? Yeah, I don't know. It seems about as formulaic as these games, so I guess we should still do it since you're still here. Okay, so Gears 2 placed an emphasis on 3 major complaints of the last title: the online experience, the difficulty, and the story. The story element was actually done in an interesting way. They brought on Joshua Ortega to help up the intensity of the story's narrative, which in my humble opinion is a pretty good move. I mean, the guy has done work with Marvel Comics as well as some Star Wars content. Even with all these improvements though, the game still managed to fall critically when compared to the previous title. Remember that graphics bubble that I mentioned before? Yeah, it's starting to deflate. This is why reviews from major sites like GameSpot gets really messed up because, see, much like the previous title, there were 2 main complaints. In the first one, it was the difficulty and the story. This time, it's the story and bad controls. And that somehow is a 0.6 score difference. Keep in mind, these reviews were done by 2 different people. Still, review continuity be damned, this isn't a video about video game reviews, so I'll move on. I digress and move on. Now, in November of 2011, we were treated to the video game Mona Lisa that is Gears of War 3. Now, I've got to level with you guys on this one. This is the best one for one reason, and one reason only. Ice-T voices the character Griffin. That's it. Okay, I guess there's other stuff to mention. Oh yeah, the game cost up to $60 million to develop. That's weird. I think it's really odd that video games are like the one visual medium in which development costs are shrouded in mystery. And this was in 2011. Another interesting move, the game was shown off officially on Jimmy Fallon of all places, despite being accidentally shown on the 360 dashboard prior to that showing. And to continue the pop culture nonsense that this game was doing at the time, you know that show American Chopper? The one from the memes. Yeah, well, the game had a tie-in in which the Gears of 3 trike was commissioned and shown off at Comic-Con. And then came what can only be described as the beginning of my Cliffy B fandom. This is why I love him so much. You see, Eurogamer gave the game a, get this, 8 out of 10. Still a fabulous score, not 60 million fabulous, but fabulous nonetheless. And Cliffy B went on the defensive and made the point of complaining that he was annoyed that Gears 3 was rated lower than Gears 2, despite him thinking that Gears 3 was a better game. Now, a rationally minded game dev may have just written this off as a review from one person's viewpoint on the game as opposed to the entire company, but not Cliffy B. That's my guy. Gears of War Judgment released in 2013. It exists, I guess. I think this one suffered from not being a numbered title. This is the last of the series developed by Epic, so I guess that's worth noting. So that leaves Gears 4. I'm glad I finally get to talk about this one because my goodness, this is the only one I've played all the way through. And boy, did it overstay its welcome. But I'll get to my thoughts on this one in the lore section. There was a tremendous changing of the guard when Microsoft bought the rights to Gears from Epic. This may or may not explain what happened to the game's narrative. Being the first title to be on the Xbox One in the franchise, it had to make an impact. So this title did not star Marcus Fenix as the primary character. It featured his son. While not the first title in the series to do this, it does make quite a splash to do so on a numbered title. Something we see again in Gears of War 5, or Gears 5. They changed it. In Gears of War 5, there's like a Terminator tie-in. I don't know. At the point of this video, the game hasn't been released yet. We haven't seen like any campaign footage, so I know that there's a Terminator in it. Yay. So I spent quite a bit more time on the development than I thought I would, so I'll get through the lore as efficiently as I can. This game stars who we all came here to talk about, Marcus Fenix. He's a former Coalition of Gears, or COG, soldier. Well, 4 years ago, he ditched his post so that he could try to rescue his father. Yeah, that didn't go well anyway, and so he gets thrown in prison for doing so. Well, Marcus's buddy Dom busts him out so he can help Delta Squad, their homies, their crew, in a quest to find a doohickey that will map out what the game terms the Hollow, a network of tunnels for the antagonists. The primary antagonists of the franchise are the Locusts. Kind of. Just focus, it's the Locusts. These creatures attacked 14 years before the events of the game, which is marked as Emergence Day. Anyway, Fenix is out and they get the device, but of course that's not enough because it doesn't map out enough of the Hollow. They need more data, which is located at Fenix's home. Once they acquire the data, they set course for a train containing the Litmus Bomb, an explosive they intend to use to detonate the Hollow. They do so, and we are greeted with the voice of the Locust Queen telling us that this ain't over yet. Gears 2 starts with an attack on the Locusts. Marcus and Delta Squad are looking through the Hollow and find out that a giant worm is being used to sink cities, their next target being the last of humanity's cities, called Jacinto. I think. I don't know. Wikipedia is really confusing. Anyway, the squad kills the worm and are off on their next mission. This mission involves saving Dom's wife, Maria, from a Locust prison. She's found and all, but she's like gross, so Dom kills her. But it was like a mercy kill, so I guess it's okay. I don't know. This one got really heavy. So on their last mission, Delta Squad moved further into Locust territory. They then find out that some of the Locusts have been affected with emulsion. This causes them to act all freaky deaky and attack the regular Locusts. So there's like a civil war going on. These emulsion Locusts are called Lambent. Marcus and Dom decide that this would be a good time to destroy them both. How? Well, by sinking Jacinto and flooding the Locusts with water. So I guess if your last bastion of human society is going to be sunk, it should be under your own terms. Well, yeah, they use a satellite to sink the city, and the Locust Queen comes back to tell us more nonsense about the next game. What's more, Adam Fenix, aka Marcus' father, sends out a radio transmission because this game really needed a twist. In the world of Gears of War 3, the COG have been dissolved. After an attack on a ship named the Sovereign, its captain Michelson is left dead. Chairman Prescott is dying as well, but before he can do that, he gives Marcus a disc containing information about the island of Azura. This is where Marcus's father is being held. Once on the island, the squad heads towards the town of Mercy. Here they learn that the people there have been turned into Lambent, which is bad. Even worse is that Dom sacrifices himself in order to kill a bunch of bad guys. So yeah, they find and rescue Adam Fenix, and yeah, he has a MacGuffin that can kill all the Locusts, because of course he does. So after he bites the dust, duh, they use a device to kill all the Locusts in Sarah. And now I can finally talk about Gears of War 4, the only one I've completed. I freaking loved this game for the first 3 hours or so. By then, you've basically seen almost everything this game has to offer combat-wise. I mean, I've never gone from cover to cover so much before in my life, unless you count the Twilight series. So yes, I'm a little jaded. Plot-wise, this title takes place 25 years after the third title. What's more, it actually follows Marcus's son, JD, like I mentioned before. Since the events of the last title, the Locusts have become the Swarm, which means those people from the previous games kinda died for nothing. No, not kinda, they died for nothing. There's this lady named Kate who becomes the protagonist of Gears 5. She, along with Marcus, joined JD in order to save Kate's mother from a swarm hive, but once again, the person that they've come to save is all gross, so like in Gears 2, it's mercy kill time. I can't see why these games never scored more points on narrative. Wow. Kate then gets an amulet from her mom, and we come to realize that the symbol on the amulet looks a lot like the Locust Queen's symbol. So you know what that means. I don't. Whew, that was a lot. Way more than I thought I'd actually do, but these games tend to run deep, so after all that, who the hell is Marcus Fenix? I don't know. Well, I did this whole thing because I really wanted to learn a bit more about this part of the Xbox, ecosystem. I had to know what was appealing about this franchise, and yeah, I still don't get it. I'm sorry. I've been with cover systems for a long time, but I've never really liked them. More of the common complaint about the storyline never really seemed to fix itself. Maybe had I actually played the games before, I'd feel a little bit more for them, but as it stands, Marcus doesn't really seem like someone worth rooting for. He seems like a vehicle for the plot. Unlike Kate, she seems like, she has a purpose. And you know what? It's a shame that like, we were 4 games in before we got to see her. Once again, I'm someone on the outside looking in, so my opinion shouldn't hold too much weight. I at least hope you enjoyed the journey as much as I did. If anything, let this be a lesson in character development. Video game weapons, gore, and graphics will only take you so far. Write characters better. And while you're at it, stay perfect.